just as before. Happy we'll be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. No more sailing, so long sailing, bye-bye sailing.
Hello, and welcome back to Night Terrors, the horror podcast in the vein of other similar horror podcasts detailing the morbid and the macabre of films past, present, and hopefully future. I'm your host, Darian Farrell, and with me as always is my co-host and kid brother, Nolan Farrell.
Hello.
Hello. So, yeah, jumping right into announcements. Let's talk about our numbers.
Well, they're not good. For season 3, episode 1, 1996, The Frighteners.
Yeah, Peter Jackson's The Frighteners.
We've got 2 views.
Nice. Well, we got that out a day late, unfortunately. And
we got that out on a Tuesday. It was supposed to be a Monday.
Yeah.
So, that's that.
Yeah, but that's because goddamn Universal Pictures of Obile
kept blocking.
Content ID blocking us.
Yeah. So we had to fuck you, Universal.
Fuck you, Universal.
So, but the episode, the Life Force episode has 32 views, and then Texas Chainsaw has 110.
Oh, nice.
No plays on SoundCloud, like I said. Pretty shit numbers.
Yeah.
Sad.
You hate to see it.
Hate to see it. But, I think that's, it's just an off week, I think.
Yeah, it's just an off week. You know? Yeah.
I want the video to do good.
Right.
Do well.
Yeah.
Cause
better than the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the movie. So yeah. But as promised for this episode, it's
2002's Steve Beck's seminal masterpiece, Ghost Ship.
Ghost Ship, yeah.
Ghost Ship, yeah. Yeah, and I think you could probably tell by how enthusiastic my intro was today. Yeah, that this. we can just go straight into initial thoughts. This movie's kind of.
And we'll dive into this further after the summary.
Yeah.
But
and the factoids.
Yeah, and the
factoids with the fact boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Well, I always ask for your initial thoughts first, don't I? So.
This is true. That has been the pattern.
That is the format, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Better stick with it.
You would think, after 4 seasons, right?
Right. It's meh.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at the end of last episode, we built it up that it was going to be like some kind of a shit show.
It wasn't.
It really wasn't. It's neither good nor bad. It's just kind of meh.
Yeah. I can't say that there's nothing wrong with the movie.
No.
But there's nothing that just jumps out at you that's like, this is terrible.
Right.
Like, oh, they clearly missed this.
Yeah.
Or, why didn't they do that?
Right.
Why'd they mention this? This never came back later to fucking bring it full circle. None of that really happened.
No.
But then there was nothing that was like, oh, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, nothing that stood out as anything particularly memorable.
Mm-mm.
Like, that would make you want to, like, be like, oh, huh.
How about
that?
Wow.
Yeah, it really wasn't anything like that.
No.
Yeah, and It's like I was telling you while we were watching it. It feels very by the numbers.
Yeah, they hit every beat that they had to hit. They did
for a horror movie about
a
people
ghost ship.
on a ghost ship.
Yeah. And we were discussing this during the movie as well. We feel as though every other movie about a ghost ship is basically probably exactly like this movie.
This movie, yeah.
Granted, we haven't seen Death Ship from 1980.
Right.
Have you?
I have not. No.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
And then there's another movie from like, I can't remember if it's 52 or 57.
That's 52.
52, yeah. And it's the same name, Ghost Ship. Apparently, it's not the 2002 one is not a remake.
Right.
It has nothing to do with that movie.
Yeah.
We haven't seen either of those two past movies, so we can't say for certain.
Yeah.
That all Ghost Ship movies are the same movie.
Plus, I'm sure there's plenty of third-party indie films about people on ghost ships,
haunted ships and shit.
Haunted ships. Yeah. But yeah, it feels like you could, take any of those plots and
you get the same movie. Basically,
you pretty much get the same movie. Yeah. And so, speaking of the plot,
yes,
Steve Beck's Ghost Ship, 2002. Let's get into the summary. So we open on a very jaunty, Love Boat-esque view of the SS Antonio Graza in 1962, where passengers of the cruise liner are enjoying a party on board.
Fantastic.
The lounge singer, Francesca, gives this knowing nod to one of the crew, right? Like a very like Star Wars Episode 6. Where they're all nodding at each other. Yeah, at the Sarlacc pit.
Boom.
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 Yeah.
But
something's going down.
Yeah, something's going down because he starts serving the passengers like champagne and shit like that.
Immediately. We're like, at least, we were like, oh, they're going to poison everybody.
They're going to poison everybody. Like, that's immediately what we thought. And then, lo and behold, later...
it's later mentioned that was one
that is indeed what happened.
One of the methods for killing the passengers.
The passengers, yeah. But meanwhile, there's, like, this little girl, she's sitting alone on the deck, like, playing with, like, this weird... It's like a cube puzzle thing.
Not even a cube.
Well, it's like a bunch of little cubes. Yeah,
little blocks.
Yeah. It's like a... Have you ever seen, like... I think we've seen them at toy stores before. Like, they're like those little handmade, like, wooden, like, block figures that have, like, the elastic string and you're able to, like...
Oh, yeah.
Twist them around. Like, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But it's a crossword.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a perfect way to describe
it, right? Yeah. So she's playing with that, and like this one guy who seems to be a member of the crew, like comes up to her, and like helps her to make it say, "Oh, I am so bored," and it's like a very like meet cute thing that is like kind of weird because
it's pretty weird. I thought it was pretty weird.
Yeah,
I got weird fucking.
Yeah,
vibe
I got weird vibes from it.
Dude looked like a pedo.
He did.
Oh, I'm gonna teach you a new word.
Huh.
You wanna know it?
Sure.
Chomo.
Chomo.
You wanna know what a chomo is? It's a child molester.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Cho is in child and Mo is in molester. Yeah. Yeah. And then he just kind of walks away, and then like the ship's El Capitan, he comes up, and then it's more like a, like a grandfatherly, like dancing with the little girl.
Yeah, it's not as weird.
Yeah, it's not nearly as weird
as some 30-year-old dancing with a 12-year-old.
Right? Yeah. But so yeah, they're dancing, they're having fun. It's very cute. But then we see this mysterious hand, show up and flip the Mismo lever.
The Mismo or the Mesmismo?
The Mesmismo. lever?
We've determined that mesmismo is Italian for murder. Because what then happens is when this mysterious hand flips the lever, a cable...
the cable that's suspending like the party
Rube
lanterns
Goldberg machine thing goes on with the cable, and the cable cuts everyone on the dance floor in half.
Right, except for the girl.
Because she's short.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut to present day, as 40 years later, where the salvage crew of the tugboat Arctic Warrior are celebrating their recent success on what was it? It was like a downed oil rig.
It was either an oil rig, or since it is a tugboat, they were towing something like another boat.
Right. Yeah.
And there was like a breach in the hull.
There was a breach in the hull,
and they had to weld it shut.
One of the crew, Maureen Epps, played by Juliana Margulies, from ER, The Good Wife, and Snakes on a Plane.
Oh yeah, that masterpiece.
Yeah, another seminal masterpiece. So she spot welds the breach in the hull. Some quick thinking. So they end up at a bar. Once they return to shore, and they're celebrating over it.
They made mad bucks for salvaging it.
Yeah,
that's
for
what they do.
Yeah, they're a salvage crew. And they're approached by this kind of like creepy, spindly weather service pilot, Jack Ferryman, played by Desmond Harrington, who shows them pictures that he took from his plane of this mysterious boat that's adrift in the Bering Sea. And he's essentially like he wants a cut of like whatever their what they can get for salvaging it, because essentially like a finder's fee,
right?
Sort of thing. But the crew, consisting of Epps, Dodge, played by Ron Eldard, Greer, played by Isaiah Washington from Grey's Anatomy, Santos, Alex Dimitriades, and Munder, played by Carl Urban from Dredd, Star Trek, and The Boys. They look to their captain, Sean Murphy, who's played by Gabriel Byrne from The Usual Suspects, for approval. And he says that since maritime law states that anything in international waters can be claimed by whomever brings it to port, they decide that they'll set off to salvage the mysterious ship, and whatever they can get for it, they'll split evenly 6 ways after giving ferryman Jack like a 10 or 20% cut of it beforehand.
Right.
So they head out, and it's a dark and stormy night on the Arctic Warrior. Santos is driving, or he's sailing the ship, I guess. Would you call it driving, or?
I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah, I don't know boat terms.
We don't know boat.
We don't know no boat terms. Yeah, so he's seeing something like blink in and out on the sonar, like it keeps appearing and disappearing. And he calls Captain Murphy up to check it out, and eventually everyone is either on the bridge or they're out on deck, like trying to find this thing. They're trying to find this ship, and so like all of a sudden it just kind of appears in front of them, and they basically ram into the side of the ship. But thankfully the Arctic Warrior, it's got like a metric fuck ton of tires.
Yeah, attached to
around it, yeah.
So it just kind of bounces.
Bounces off of it, and it's fine. But Murphy recognizes the name Antonia Graza from stories he heard about its disappearance some 40 years ago, and he recognizes it and marvels at it still being afloat after
40 fucking years.
40 years, yeah. As since the swinging 60s, baby, yeah.
Hell yeah.
So they climb aboard to check it out, and as they survey the bridge, Dodge finds this clearly modern, or modern by 2002 standards, digital watch on the table, and notes how watches like this would not have been around in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is clearly, from people who have recently visited the ship. Oh, yeah, and then Munder almost falls through the floor because all the floors in this place are either rotted wood or rusted metal. And Epps manages to pull him up, but as she's doing so, she sees this little girl watching them from below who just vanishes without a trace.
Spoopy.
Yeah, real spoopy shit. So they continue to survey the ship, and they learn that the engine room is flooded. And then they venture underwater to survey the underside of the ship to check for damage, and that's where they find a large hole in the hull that caused the flood in the engine room, and it's threatening to basically sink the whole ship.
Tends to be the case.
Yeah, that as you do,
as water does.
It do be like that sometimes,
Yeah.
So in an attempt to get the ship shape, the crew.
That was fucking.
I know, low hanging fruit, but
had to grab it.
You had to grab it. I mean, that's basically all this movie is. The crew split up to tackle the various repairs, resulting in a series of supernatural events, like Epps, sees the little girl again, as she finds, like, there's an indoor pool that's got a bunch of bullet holes in it. Murphy catches a glimpse of the ship's El Capitan in the mirror when he goes to drink some ghost brandy, and Greer hears Francesca singing when he enters the lounge. Like your typical, like, haunted house, or I guess haunted ship shit. So on a hunch that there's more to this ship than meets the eye, Epps and Jack explore the ship to see what they can find. And what they do find are an assortment of bodies waterlogged in the laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
Murphy later notes that they might be as fresh as like 3 weeks, which explains the digital watch, and like a metric fuck ton of Manchurian gold in the cargo bay. Nine crates, each containing 28 bars.
Right, and so and each bar is 100 ounces.
Yeah.
So
according to Wikipedia.
According to Wikipedia. And then Google just says that the average mass of a gold bar is 438.9 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia said that these bars were 100 ounces.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go with Wikipedia.
Yeah.
For the sake of it.
Right. Well, Wikipedia is a great source, despite what literally every high school teacher would tell you.
Yeah. Assholes. But crunching the math, using 2002 prices for per ounce of gold, they would have found $7 million worth of gold.
Right.
Murphy says that it's either 200 or 300
million,
which is bullshit.
And then, like, Santos, I think, later says, like, oh, yeah, we got, like, 100 mil.
Right. Which is still, like...
Which is still way too much.
That's still 93 million more than you actually have.
Yeah.
And that's, if we go by the 100-ounce bars.
Yeah.
If we go by what
Wikipedia claims, because I don't think they don't say the weight of the bars in the movie. We just know that there's 9 crates with 28 bars each.
Correct.
Yeah.
So going by Wikipedia, they have 7 million. Going by when you Google how many ounces is a bar of gold, it's 438.9.
Mm-hmm.
They would have 24 million.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, it's nowhere near 100,
right.
200, or 300 million.
Yeah.
So
yeah, either way you look at it.
It's fucking not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why it's really funny that there's a whole subplot about there being gold, and that's why I say Manchurian gold, because that's in reference to the video game Man of Medan, which is made by the same people who did Until Dawn. It's essentially the sequel, but it's part of like its own series. So that comes back to what we were saying earlier about how you could literally interchange this. Like I'm almost positive that Man of Medan directly inspired this film,
even though Man of Medan came out like last year.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that just goes to show you that
that the plots are interchangeable.
And
like, it's literally people find a ghost ship, and then there's a whole thing about there being gold on the ship. Yeah.
As the subplot, yeah.
Yeah.
We were laughing about this while we were watching it, and how I, for whatever fucking reason, got really upset. Because I legitimately was just thinking, I can't believe a video game from last year inspired this movie from 18 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it's like I kept making the joke, and he was like almost like subconsciously believing that this video game
fucking
directly
impossible. I knew that that can't be the case. That's literally impossible. But for whatever reason, my subconscious was just like, I can't believe that they fucking did this.
I can't believe that they ripped off this game. I can't believe that Steve Beck would do something like that. Shamelessly rip off Man of Medan.
And Warner Brothers would finance it.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious.
Because you kept making those references. And I'm like...
Yeah, I kept pointing out how literally everything they were doing was just like Man of Medan.
And the game is even better.
Yeah, the game does it significantly better. But again, that's just because it's essentially a glorified Telltale game, choose your own adventure. Right. So obviously, you can flesh out a bit more than you can in just this is an hour and 30 minutes. This is a 91-minute movie.
Yeah. It's very short.
Yeah. And what's funny is that it feels that way too.
Yeah.
Like it's forgettable enough that it doesn't really feel like anything really happens. Like, this summary is actually gonna be really short, I think, because everything that goes on is happening at the same pace as we're explaining it.
Yeah. I didn't feel like the movie was short or it was slow. Oh no, I do agree that the movie was short. But I don't feel as though it was really slow. I feel as though the pacing was good.
Yeah, the pacing was fine, but there wasn't enough of it. There wasn't enough story to justify the pacing, I think. Right. So it
probably should have been shorter.
Yeah, this could be a
1 hour movie.
Yeah, an hour movie, or this could be a fucking Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah.
You could condense this into a TV episode.
Yeah.
I feel. So even though pacing wasn't too much of an issue, there's not enough story to go around. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. I think
it's major fucking tangent. Where were we?
Yeah. We're talking. Oh yeah. Well, we were talking. Yeah, the Manchurian gold.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they get together to discuss the gold. And they all agree that maritime law is essentially just finders keepers. And they decide to just abandon the ship and just take the gold back onto the Warrior. Santos makes a few last-minute adjustments to the engine as Greer starts it up, unaware that the propane tanks are opening on their own. Ooh! So when he starts it up, the Warrior explodes. Santos is caught in the blast because he's in the engine room. So he's dead, but the rest of the crew manages to survive, stranded on the Graza. So seeing no other option but to repair the ship, and get her ship shape again, they decide to work on spot welding the hole and draining the engine room. Greer, racked with guilt over Santos, however, he begins drinking heavily in the lounge. Looking at a picture of his wife, or his fiance, I should say. Worried that he's not going to make it back to her. Dodge and Munder, they find some beans and other rations in the galley, which they think are surprisingly tasty after 40 years. Only for it to be a Man of Medan style hallucination, where the food is actually rotten and filled with maggots. Although that's not particularly unique to Man of Medan. That's a classic horror movie trope. You're convinced you're eating something fine, but then it's actually something disgusting. That's literally from the fucking Lost Boys, where Kiefer Sutherland convinces the guy that he's eating maggots when he's eating Chinese takeout.
You can eat maggots, and you're basically fine, right?
Yeah. Well, you can eat basically any sort of bug,
As long as it's not like a poisonous bug.
right?
Alright.
Yeah, and it's very nourishing. Like
It's just nasty because they're tiny and squirmy.
and squirmy. Yeah,
Right.
but like if you like fry them up, it's basically
Very
like,
crunchy, yeah.
Yeah, it's like pork rinds, but
Right, yeah.
yeah, so they're nourishing provisions.
Yeah.
Bugs.
So either way, I think they're... If they ate good beans or if they ate the maggots on the beans, I think either way they're getting...
Well, sure. Well, they'll get nutrition from the maggots, but the beans are still
40 years old.
yeah.
What happens when beans go bad?
I'm pretty sure it's the same way, like, when any food goes bad, I'd imagine. It's not good. A lot like this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's accurate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get themselves Man of Medan. And Epps is visited once again by the little girl, who she now knows is Katie from the ship's passenger manifest. But I don't know how she would just figure out that that's Katie, because I didn't see like ages or like anything that really looked like dates of birth or anything that would.
There could be, and we didn't see it.
And maybe we didn't see it. But
She
just kind of...
It just said that she was traveling by herself.
Right.
And that her purpose was she was going to see her parents.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It did say purpose. But, like, how many... In the 1960s...
Right.
It is the 60s, but it is still the 60s. It's not the 20s.
Right.
Where, like, a woman goes out on her own, that's like, you should basically just murder her. That's not allowed.
Right.
Like, the 60s were bad, but they weren't that bad yet.
Right.
So I think a woman could travel on a ship.
Yeah.
And not be, like, fucking hounded about it.
Yeah.
So, like, literally, any woman could go on a ship to go visit her parents, like, across the ocean.
Right. And that would be fine. That doesn't necessarily mean
probably not a child.
Yeah. Exactly. That doesn't necessarily mean you're a child. But so anyway, she just kind of assumes that Katie is the girl's name, which it is, but
got lucky
still,
there.
yeah, that's just luck or poor writing.
Or ghost stuff. I don't fucking know.
Ghost ship. Yeah, it's a ghost ship. Like, basically anything in this movie, if you don't understand it, just assume it's a ghost ship,
Yeah.
You're just getting Man of Medan. So Katie begins telling her about how all the souls on the ship are like trapped in an effort to fill some sort of mysterious quota. But she's not like the others. So like she's not about that, luring people to their death thing. She wants to help. But unfortunately, before she can reveal any further details, a malevolent force, just makes her like disappear momentarily. And that's where we cut back to the lounge to see that Greer has found himself in a newly restored version of the lounge, where he meets the ghost of Francesca, who kind of seduces him away from his fiancée. Although, like, even that's sort of ambiguous because, like, he's just under the impression that it's because he's drunk. So it's not like he's really cheating. And so, like, this, I'm only saying this now because it's going to be important later. To my argument. But yeah, so she seduces him away from his fiancée and leads him to his death down an elevator shaft. Yeah, it's so hard to, because all of this just kind of, like, it happens, again, like, at the same time I'm kind of describing it. So in the captain's quarters, Murphy encounters the ghost of El Capitan again, who tells him over a drink of, some more ghost brandies, how they found another ghost ship, the Lorelei, with the cargo of gold and a single survivor. He shows Murphy a picture of the survivor, whom he recognizes, and immediately goes to try and warn the others. But before he can get a word in edgewise, he gets himself Man of Medan. and he starts attacking Epps because he thinks that she is the ghost of Santos, who's taunting him for, letting the warrior blow up and kill him.
Right.
Jack
Knocks him out, and then they dump him into the drained out aquarium that's like near the lounge, to keep him from hurting anybody else. So like they essentially use it as a brig.
Yeah.
Instead of, like actually using the brig. But I guess they couldn't build that set, I guess. Or they didn't want to build that set. Katie shows up again, to lead Epps to Greer's body, at the bottom of the elevator shaft, where she shows Epps like a psychic vision of what happened, that fateful night. And evidently it was Francesca, and Madame Julieta and her sinful thighs, and the crew, were convinced to stage a mutiny over the gold. So they killed the passengers with the poison champagne and food, just like we called it, at the very beginning of the movie.
It just took a while for our suspicions to be confirmed.
They had like a firing squad at the indoor pool, and that explains the bullet holes, along with the aforementioned wire bisection on the deck on the dance floor. When the crew managed to get a hold of the gold, Francesca has one of them like gun down all the others, and then she shoots him. And then a mysterious stranger comes in who's apparently the mastermind behind the whole thing. And then he kills Francesca by like telekinetically sticking a hook on her in the cargo bay.
And then he brands her.
Yeah, and then he brands her with a mark that looks like a hook.
Because he's the hook man.
Because he's the hook man. He's the ferryman.
Right.
Because it's revealed that he's Jack Ferryman. What am I? Oh, yeah. So, Epps also, like, catches glimpses of, like, Murphy, in the vision. And so she goes to save him, but it's too late. She finds, that the aquarium has been filled back up and, he's drowned. And she's able to just barely make out, the photo of Jack, which Murphy had, clutched in his hand. That's the photo of the sole survivor that, the Graza found on the Lorelei. After Dodge leaves to take helm on the bridge, because there's like this small troop of islands that they're coming up on, and they don't want the ship to get any more damage. So Dodge takes helm and leaves Munder to manage the hose, which is draining out the engine room, which gets clogged, and so Munder goes scuba diving to try and untwist the tube to get it flowing again, and he gets crushed between the gears. Epps decides to sink the ship in order to thwart Jack's plan, and has Dodge guard Jack as she plants explosives in the engine room. But like Jack suddenly drops like his kind of like meek, spindly persona. And he starts getting real abrasive and starts berating Dodge about his not acting on his feelings for Epps, which suddenly came out of nowhere. Like I don't feel like there was any build up to that like at all. That
None.
He had anything going for Epps.
Didn't even fucking know.
Yeah, I
thought the whole time that Jack was trying to get her.
Right? Yeah, because they have like conversations about, and yeah, even earlier I said that Epps and Jack go searching, and that's where they find the bodies and the gold.
Right.
So and earlier, like after she first sees Katie, when she's trying to save Munder from falling through the floor,
she tells him.
She tells Jack about it, and he's acting like concerned and stuff, and like so you get this feeling that like he's trying to get with her. And, like, there might be something there going on, but you never get... I never got the sense that Dodge had anything for her.
Fucking nothing.
Yeah. That's so
that
weird.
Just kind of came out of left field.
Yeah. But anyway, so he keeps pestering Dodge about it. And then, like, lunges at him, and that prompts Dodge to, shoot him. And we think he's dead, but he's not. He's alive with the sound of music. And Dodge comes down to the engine room, where he then tries to convince Epps, to run away with him and the gold, and I think he's finally acting on his feelings, but, Epps is just not having it. She's like, fuck this, fuck the gold, fuck everything. We gotta blow this goddamn ship up again. Fuck it. Just fuck it. He's like, well, shit, I can't convince you. Well, then he morphs into Jack.
Oh, shit.
Because, like we said, yeah, Jack's,
he's a ghost boy.
He's a ghost or like a demon or something. That he reveals. But yeah, evidently he just kind of kills Dodge off screen in order to do this ruse. But yeah, he reveals himself to be like some sort of agent of hell, hence the ferryman, name, who prompts people to, commit sin in order to kill them and then claim their souls, which is apparently the point of the brand. But we never see the brand on like literally anybody else but Francesca in that flashback.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is, it's like, okay, so like I get how he was able to like kill Dodge, I guess, because like Dodge shot him, and so I guess that's committing sin.
Right, thou shall not kill, or whatever the fuck.
Right, and so, like, okay, and so this is my problem.
He just put his head down and grabbed the bridge of his nose. As he, like, kind of massages the inside of his eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, so this is the only reason why I mentioned earlier that bit about Francesca, like, seducing Greer away from his fiancée. And
like adultery or something.
Because adultery would be a sin in this case. But, again, like, from his perspective, from Greer's perspective, he even says out loud, I'm just going to go along with this because
you can't really cheat.
He can't cheat, like, if
on a dead person.
If Francesca's dead. And even then, he doesn't actually think that she's a ghost. He just thinks that, like, he's hallucinating because he's just really drunk.
He's wasted, right.
Because he got wasted on fucking wine that he found, on a 40-year-old ship.
Right.
So
which means it's probably pretty good.
Right. Yeah, sure, but
still,
yeah. So it's not like,
and I'd agree with him on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually
if it's in your
say
head
that's,
and you're hammered and it's basic. That's not really.
I wouldn't consider that to like actually be adultery in like in that sense.
Right. And so the same with like Dodge shooting Jack. Like, that's not really killing, or like it's not murder. Because that's kind of like how most people interpret the "thou shall not kill."
Right.
It's like "thou shall not murder."
Murder.
That's self-defense.
Yeah, because Jack intentionally lunges at him. Right. Yeah, so you would think that shooting him would be self-defense. Now, you could
argue that Jack did that on purpose because he knew he couldn't die, so he's just trying to, what would you call it? Mm-hmm. What would you call it? He's trying to, this isn't the right term for it, but like force Dodge's hand.
Right. Yeah.
Or like manipulate him.
Yeah.
But
it's not like Dodge knew that he couldn't die, and so he's just shooting him just for the sake of shooting him.
Right.
He doesn't
know that. Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what also gets me and this comes back around to how we were thinking, about that one Chomo pedo guy, how that's like kind of gross. Is that the idea is that these souls have to sin first in order to be trapped on the ship.
Right, that's explained, yeah.
That's how they explain it.
Does Jack explain that, or does Katie explain that?
Well, Katie kind of explains it first, but then Jack definitely explains it later in this scene in the engine room where he morphs.
Right.
Even later, just a minute or so later, he tries to pull the same trick essentially to get Katie to shoot him. And that would then, trap her soul. But instead,
not Katie to shoot her.
Epps.
Epps to shoot her.
Yeah.
Him.
Him. Yeah.
Yeah. But she shoots the detonation.
She shoots the detonator for the C4 to blow up the ship. But yeah. So that's.
But in regards to Katie, what the fuck does a 12-year-old girl do? Where you've sinned and now you're trapped on the boat.
On the boat.
Now
right.
We were speculating.
Yeah.
Because in the flashback sequence where she's showing how all the crew murdered all the passengers for the gold.
Yeah. She shows how the crew murdered her.
2 crew members with a straight edge
razor.
An old barbershop.
Yeah.
straight edge razor blade.
They drag her to her cabin, to her room on the ship.
And now we don't know if they because Epps finds her body hanging.
Right.
She got hung or she got hanged?
No, she was hung.
Yeah. Is that the way?
Yeah.
Anyways, she's hanging.
Yeah. In the closet and
now there's the whole thing like suicide's a sin, but we know that she didn't kill herself.
Right. Or maybe she could have. There's a lot of roads where this could go down, because they also show in that flashback that these same two crew members who do drag her with the straight edge razor blade, they also took the straight edge and they slit the throat of the Chomo looking pedo guy.
Right, that she knew.
That she knew. So I have a couple different speculations as to what maybe happened and like why that could technically count as her being a quote unquote sinner.
Right.
And that is either this Chomo guy was in fact a Chomo and he was painting her like one of his French girls. Right.
Right.
And so that was why she was considered a sinner, even though she herself isn't actually like bad, she's just having sex. But unfortunately, because she's underage, I guess that it just makes it sin, even though she's not actually in the wrong.
Are you saying it's consensual or not? Because if it's consensual, that's statutory, my guy.
Yeah, no, that's
I mean, either way, it's fucked.
What I'm saying is it's fucked, but like I don't think she's actually in the wrong in any of these cases.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that like on a technicality, she would then be considered a sinner.
Gotcha.
But then that explains why she's not like the others, in the sense that she's not intentionally trying to lead anybody to their deaths. She's actually trying to help, because she isn't a bad person. She was just caught on a technicality, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So my second theory would be then that the two guys with the straight edge razor blade who drag her into their room, they're the ones who rape her.
Right.
Trigger warning for anybody sensitive about that. So and then that's the technicality. And then she just. And then, like, they kill her, like, also by slicing her throat, and then I guess hang her, I guess.
See,
then my third speculation would be that they rape her, and then wrapped with guilt, she kills herself.
Gotcha. I think that's the one I would be most plausible.
Yeah,
because I feel like if I was a 12-year-old girl and I got raped, I would hang myself too.
Probably. Right? Yeah. Because that's
pretty fucked.
That's pretty fucked. That's incredibly traumatic.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that, like,
and you're watching all these other passengers getting murdered, so you're like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna make it out of this.
Right. And eventually all the crew gets murdered in the cargo bay by the other guy and Francesca. So, like, she's basically all alone at that point, knowing full well what has happened to her. And, like, she literally has nobody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, fuck, man. Like, how? Yeah, so those are the three best guesses I have.
As to why she would be stuck there.
She would be stuck, trapped, as a trapped soul.
Right.
Where
are we in the summary?
Oh, yeah. Well, Jack is just explaining how it works. He kills them, he gets them to commit sin, kill them, and then claim their souls. And he needs the ship to remain afloat, and operational, so that he can continue filling his quota, at which point he can then ferry them down to hell.
Right.
So, yeah, and then we mentioned the scuffle that the two of them have.
She takes a harpoon gun.
She takes a harpoon gun and shoots the detonator to blow up the ship.
Blows up the ship.
Which blows up Jack, too.
Right.
Blows him to bits.
Yeah.
And she manages to escape the sinking wreckage with the help of Katie, whose soul is now rising up into the heavens with all the other souls who were trapped aboard the ship. So, like, she kind of acts like a little beacon for Epps to
Swim towards,
yeah. Epps is later rescued by another cruise ship and returns to shore, on a stretcher, entering an ambulance. But then as the doors close, she sees that the crew of this other cruise ship are loading up those very same crates of gold, accompanied by a still very much alive Jack,
Right.
Who glares at her, as she does the, the slow motion, screaming no as the doors close.
Right.
And that's it. That's the movie. Roll credits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Well, so we're almost 50 minutes in, but that's just because our tangents took the summary a little longer.
Right.
So, moving into factoids. Factoids with the Fact Boy.
Hey-o! Alright, so, released in 2002, as we've said plenty of times.
Yeah.
A lot of it was filmed off the coast of Queensland, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were also sound stages of the ship built at Village Roadshow Studios.
Mm-hmm.
There was also some of the filming was shot off the coast of Halifax, Nova Scotia,
mm-hmm.
which is on the eastern side
Okay.
of Canada in the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And then also off the coast of Vancouver, which is in the Pacific on the western side
Mm-hmm.
of Canada. So I have no idea why they went to both sides of Canada. That's 2 oceans right there.
Right.
Wouldn't that cost more? I don't know.
Or maybe it was like weather things.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the tugboat that was used for the Arctic Warrior,
Mm-hmm.
when they were filming exterior shots
Mm-hmm.
for the tugboat,
Yeah.
several feeding frenzies occurred, and so there were several instances where anywhere from 800 to 1,000 sharks were around the boat while they were filming, because the sharks were going absolutely fucking in on fish. Yeah.
That's crazy, dog.
It's nuts, yeah. So that's one little fun fact.
Fun fact. Factoid with the Fact Boy.
Hell yeah. And then other stuff. Some production notes.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, the film was written to be a goreless psychological thriller.
Okay.
It wasn't supposed to be as blatantly supernatural.
Oh,
It
sure.
was supposed to be more like a murder mystery.
Oh my god, so it was basically written to be like Man of Medan. Okay, so...
It was supposed to be Man of Medan, but
Right.
then producers and a fuck ton of rewrites occurred.
They were like, oh yeah, we need to have a demon, we need to have the Man of the Medan.
Right. And they kind of made it more slasher.
Right. Okay, so I'm just gonna, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen and or played the game Man of Medan. The idea is that nothing supernatural is actually happening on the ship, and that the Manchurian gold is actually all a fraud, and the case that they think contains the gold actually contained some kind of old World War II bioweapon that causes hallucinations, and it leaked onto the ship, causing everybody to have hallucinations and kill each other. So nothing supernatural is actually happening on the ship. It's all just illusions.
Right, and so reading this little article further,
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be from panic, cabin fever, or there were supposed to be some supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
there was supposed to be some ghosty stuff,
Okay.
but all the crew members from the Arctic Warrior
Mm-hmm.
were supposed to go insane, and they all were individually supposed to plot to kill everyone else so they
Mm-hmm.
could have the gold for themselves.
Yeah, so it's the Man of Medan.
It's the Man of fucking Medan?
They all got Man of Medan.
Well, they were supposed to,
They were supposed to.
but then the
Yeah,
studio
but then
said,
the
fuck it.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
And so, Murphy was supposed to be the main killer
Right.
who's killing everyone.
Yeah.
So everyone was kind of supposed to be trying to kill everyone else,
Mhm.
but they were all trying to play it off like, no, we're not. I'm
Right.
not trying to kill you
I'm
guys.
not trying to kill you.
But Murphy is successfully going around and killing
and
everyone.
offing everybody.
And it was
Okay.
supposed to be kind of a murder mystery that was kind of prompted by some ghosts fucking with them.
Right.
That's how it was supposed to go down.
Yeah, well, and see, you kind of get that initially when like that first time he wants to take a swig of the ghost brandy,
right?
And like I'm pretty sure we called it as we were watching the movie that like, oh, he's gonna get like possessed by the captain of the ship and like go on a murder spree or something,
right? And that didn't happen.
That didn't happen, but
we would have been fine if it did.
If it did. Because clearly that was their original intention.
That was the original script by Mark Hanlon.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was supposed to go down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be one movie, and then we got something completely different. And that original script was the movie that all the actors signed on for.
Oh.
So when they arrived for filming, they were thoroughly disappointed.
That was not...
That they got this new script, and they're like, well, this is not the fucking movie we had signed on to do.
Right. Yeah.
This is something completely different.
Completely different.
But they were already contractually obligated to fucking film it.
Right.
And so I'll say this. The acting wasn't bad.
No.
I do feel like a lot of the dialogue was pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
And the actors did their best to work with it. And you can see that.
Yeah, you can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, that's the thing, is it reads a lot like, well, I mean, an early 2000s horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where some dialogue is over the top and kind of corny, but, like, they're playing it completely straight-faced. And they do a good job with playing it straight-faced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not terribly cringy. I don't think, but yeah, it's definitely like cheesy in the sense that like you might get a bit of a kick out, or you'll cringe subtly. Like it's more like oh wow, can't believe they actually said that.
Yeah, they went with that.
That they went with that, yeah. Versus a ooh, really, ooh, you know, it's not like that reaction.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
but yeah, we were supposed to get Man of Medan, the movie,
yeah.
And we didn't.
And we didn't, yeah.
Nobody did.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, there you go. It's just another in a long line of terrible video game movie adaptations. Where they take the plot from the original video game and the adaptation to the movie just completely buggers it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck. Is that
That's the end of Factoids with the Fact Boy.
Factoids with the Fact Boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, what else do we have to say for final thoughts?
We need to give it our final rating.
I mean, yeah, we got to plug it into the moist meter. Into the moist meter. But
initiating moisture.
Initiating moisture. But yeah, I mean, this movie's just kind of meh. Like it's not all that memorable. I think.
One of the critic reviews.
Oh yeah.
That I told you about before we started recording.
Yeah.
Was the movie is better than you'd expect it to be, but not as good as you hoped it'd be. So
yeah,
I thoroughly agree with that.
Yeah, accurate.
Because at the end of the last episode, or I should say the last season,
right.
We made it out like this movie was going to be an absolute.
Yeah, we were moaning and groaning over how awful we thought this was going to be, and it really wasn't.
It wasn't that bad.
No,
but again, it wasn't.
It wasn't
spectacular.
Good. Yeah. It's just kind of meh. And so something that I articulated was that it's one of those movies where, like, if you have absolutely nothing else to watch on TV, and like this happened to be on, you could watch it. You know, like if it's there and there's really nothing else on to watch, like you could watch it.
You watch it,
but
then I said, even if it was the only thing on TV, I could still pirate something better offline.
Yeah, so exactly, which is hilarious
because that's how we watched this movie.
We pirated it, we streamed it online. In order to watch it, and we're like, wow, we could have pirated something better.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah! So that's why yeah, it's just kind of meh. It's just kind of middle of the road. I mean, this feels like, but again, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's still, like, competently made in the sense that, like, it's still a film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's even though it might be cheesy in some areas, it's not like, you know, like like I said, like you aren't going to groan and moan and like bitch over it. Like, it's not a slog to get through.
Yeah, you're not gonna watch this and be like, man, I want this thing to fucking
just
end.
Yeah, no, you won't. You won't be like that. So I think that's the most redeeming thing you could say for it. Apart from, of course, the acting, which is pretty solid.
Oh yeah, you have tons of actors in the cast that these are fucking good actors.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that sense, I would say it's, you know, I'm hesitant to give it, you know, like a D, and definitely not an F. You know, I feel like that's a little too harsh, but I would say, yeah, like a C minus to a C.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm giving it 70 to 75, which is the same as Life Force, but it's not for the same reasons that I gave Life Force a 70 to 75. Right.
Yeah, because you just... Well, I forget what you actually said about Life Force. Well, I think you had a problem with all the holes.
I had a problem with all the plot holes in Life Force, and that's why I knocked it down. Because overall, the movie's entertaining.
Right, it's entertaining, but for you, it was disjointed.
It was disjointed, whereas with this movie, it wasn't disjointed.
No.
The story was just kind of meh, and therefore isn't entertaining. So it's kind of like the flip of what Life Force is.
Right, yeah, Life Force is disjointed, but still very entertaining, whereas this is just kind of meh, but still well put together.
Right,
yeah.
And so that's why I give it the same 70 to 75.
Yeah. Well, and we basically agree that it's just meh, but still very well put together. So I'm in the same boat.
Oh, you're so funny.
I know. Oh, Chad. Yeah. So I'm also giving it a 70 to 75. You know, okay. It's average.
Yeah, I think that's literally the best way to describe it.
That's the best way to describe this movie. It's average. You know.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. I don't think. Yeah, and so I think that's my highest recommendation, is that you could watch this if it comes on TV sometime. But I wouldn't say that this warrants actually any sort of a purchase necessarily.
No.
Be it Blu-ray, DVD, or otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that concludes it for 2002's Ghost Ship.
Yep, Steve Beck's seminal masterpiece, 2002's Ghost Ship.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically it. So for season 5, episode 1, we're going to be doing 1973's The Wicker Man.
Hell yeah!
So that's the original. That's not the
Nicolas Cage.
That's not the Bees.
Yeah, it's not 2006's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, The Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Which I think should be fun, because that has Christopher Lee in it.
Yeah.
Dooku. You know, Count Dooku, and then he's Dracula. He's Frankenstein, I believe. Like he's the Hammer horror films star. So I think that should be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry for the tone on this one. This was a touch demoralizing just from the blandness
of it.
So hopefully we'll have a little more pep in our step next week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks for listening.